845 years in federal prison. The chair where the defendant sits was empty. He wasn't there. For reference, Bernard Madoff, the largest Ponzi scheme in American history. He received 150 years. This man received 845. His name was Sholam Weiss, born April 1, 1954, Borough Park, Brooklyn. His father ran a fruit stand. He was educated in a yeshiva, Hebrew school, religious instruction. He didn't learn English until his late teens. From the outside, an unremarkable beginning. He would go on to drain $450 million from an insurance company, what the FBI would later call the largest insurance company failure caused by criminal acts in American history. But before that, he was just a man who had tried to make it in the plumbing supply business and failed. After that, he reinvented himself. He became what he called a bankruptcy specialist, someone who stepped in when companies were in trouble. He was very good at stepping in. The story doesn't start with Weiss. It starts in 1990 with National Heritage Life Insurance Company, a Florida-based insurer, thousands of policyholders, mostly elderly residents throughout the state. That year, a group of fraudsters moved to take control of the company. The mechanism was brazen in its simplicity. They wrote a $4 million check to acquire it, a check they knew they could not cover. Then they used a check-kiting scheme, moving money between accounts in a loop, creating the illusion of funds that did not exist, to lend themselves the money to make that check good. The company was theirs, and 35,000 policyholders had no idea. Sholam Weiss entered the picture in 1992. The connection came through an attorney named Michael Blutrich. Blutrich, it would later emerge, also owned a New York club called Scores, a topless establishment with documented ties to the Gambino crime family. He would eventually become a federal witness. By 1993, Weiss had taken control of National Heritage Life Insurance, and the money began to vanish. Worthless stocks, worthless mortgages, purchased by the company at inflated prices, and the proceeds flowing directly into accounts controlled by Sholam Weiss. $450 million. The FBI would later call it the largest insurance company failure caused by criminal acts in U.S. history. 35,000 policyholders, roughly 10,500 of them in Florida alone, many of them elderly, many who had paid into their policies for years, in some cases decades, trusting that the money would be there when they needed it. Many lost their life savings. But here is where this case becomes something stranger than a fraud story. Prosecutors offered Weiss a deal, approximately 5 years. He turned it down. 78 counts, racketeering, wire fraud, money laundering, obstruction of justice. The trial lasted 9 months. The jury had been deliberating for several days. October 18, 1999, Sholam Weiss walked out of the country. Mid-deliberation, he was declared a fugitive of justice. The jury came back regardless, guilty. And on February 8, 2000, Judge Patricia Fawcett of the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida sentenced the absent defendant to 845 years in federal prison. The method was straightforward. Consecutive 5-year and 20-year counts stacked one after the other until the arithmetic produced a number so large that no appeal, no maneuver, no parole could touch it. 845 years, a $123.4 million fine, $125 million in restitution, the longest federal sentence in American history, the longest white-collar sentence in American history. The chair where the defendant sits was empty when it was read. Weiss moved. Israel, Belgium, Brazil, Austria, the United Kingdom, 3 years as a fugitive. In 2002, Austrian authorities extradited him to the United States. The convictions were upheld by the 11th Circuit. 845 years, a sentence to die in federal prison. He made it 19. On January 19, 2021, President Trump's final day in office, the sentence was commuted. Sholam Weiss walked out of federal prison the next morning. 2 months later, he suffered a stroke. In January of 2022, he was photographed at Mar-a-Lago. The verdict still stands. The $450 million is mostly gone. Most of the 35,000 policyholders are in their 70s and 80s now. Many of them are no longer here. And Sholam Weiss, the fruit stand kid from Borough Park, who walked into a failing insurance company and drained it to the bone, sentenced to die in prison, didn't.